welcome to my channel. Welcome to one of my most favorite videos to make, and that is all about winter sowing. So I have been leading up to this video, and today we are going to talk all about how to actually winter sow. I am going to go through the process of taking these translucent or transparent containers, and we're going to start some seeds in here. We're going to go through a whole process of getting the containers prepared. We are going to go in and we're going to plant some seeds using a special soil, and then we're going to tape them up using a certain kind of tape. We're going to write on the outside using a certain kind of marker. I'm going to tell you all about those. Stay tuned. And then we're going to set them outside. Yes, you heard me right. We are going to set them outside. This is called winter sowing. We are mimicking nature in this container. And what's going to happen is the soil knows what to do. It freezes. You put it outside in the freezing cold, like frigid, frozen, sleet, snow, hail, wind, rain. I mean, you could be negative 20 degrees. You're still going to set your containers right on outside, and they're going to freeze, and the seeds are going to freeze. And then what's going to happen is they're going to lay in this container until the temperatures start to change and we get closer to spring. And it's going to happen. You start to get warmer outside. You get warmer days, warmer nights, and then the seeds that soil starts to warm, and then it becomes the perfect environment for the seed to say, oh, it's warm enough for me to germinate. Now, our brains sometimes look at it and say, oh my gosh, it's still freezing outside. I see green in my container. Oh no, I need to take it inside. I need to hide it. No, you trust the process, because we sit it outside in the freezing cold. We allow nature to take its course. That's what happens outside. And then once we have our last frost. So for me, that's April 15th. For you, you need to look that up. I'll put a link below on how you figure that out. But what you're going to do is you're going to find that last frost date. You're going to also watch the news. You're going to watch the weather, and you're going to look at the 10-day forecast. And you're going to make sure there's no nighttime freezing temperatures, so you know when to open these containers, okay? You're going to resist the temptation, and you're going to have a big temptation, because you're going to have plants growing up out of here, and you're going to think, oh my gosh, I got to open this up. It's getting too hot. They're going to scorch. Leave it alone. Okay, we're going to go through the whole process today. I'm going to show you how to prepare these containers, how then you leave them alone, you put them outside. Once you get past your last frost, then you're going to open your containers, and you are going to have already acclimated plants that are bigger than what you can buy at the store, and you're going to be able to plant them. So you leave the container open for a couple of days. I usually do it about 2 or 3 days, and then you've got plants ready to be planted. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so today we are going to go through the process of preparing a container. We're going to prepare our soil. We're going to plant some seeds, and then we're going to put it outside, and we're going to leave it alone. You can use translucent or transparent containers. They're both okay. Okay, we're going to take this one and then make it look like this. Okay, so it's got a hinge, and we put holes in it. You kind of can't see because it's so dirty, but we'll go ahead and get started with this. So what you need, let me show you what you need to get this done. My favorite potting mix, my preferred, is the Miracle-Gro potting mix. Now, if you don't prefer Miracle-Gro, or if you don't prefer, you can find your own. I have tried many different kinds, and this works the best for me, and I've had a insane amount of success. So I highly recommend getting the Miracle-Gro potting mix. It is my favorite, and you can get, I did see that you can get a very small I think it's 8-quart bag at the Dollar Tree for $5. You can also get a little bit bigger, I think, at Lowe's or Home Depot, and it's just a little bit more expensive. So just do your homework on your soil. You definitely need containers. You can use something like this. You can use cat litter containers. These I didn't love so much last year because there wasn't enough. Like, this is in here is the only place that the water can get in, so I need to drill some more holes this year. I found that it was plentiful here in where it was getting water, but over here it was struggling a little bit. So it's just adding in more holes so that water can get in. You can use 2 quart or a quart. You can use coffee creamer containers. You can use half-gallon. Okay, all of these work. It's just, I prefer the gallon because it gives you more space, more room, and it just seems to work super well. I will tell you that Starbucks, a lot of times if you go to them, they go through multiple of these a day. You can ask them if they will save them for you, and a lot of times they will. So if you don't have access to these, go to your local Starbucks and ask them if they'll just save one day's worth for you, and you have to make arrangements to pick it up that night. A lot of times they don't want to hold it, so you got to make sure you're on that. Okay, I'm on my back porch, and there is a reason that I am outside in the freezing cold. So when you are preparing your containers, what you first need to do is cut a slit to make this opening, right? But then we also want to do our drainage holes in this, and I like to do them while they're still intact before I make my cut. Now, I do a lot of winter sowing, and so somebody along the way made a recommendation to use a wood burning tool. Now, this gets super hot. It will burn you, so you have to be super careful. And when you are taking and sticking it in the plastic, it emits fumes. So you want to be sure you are in an outside area that is well ventilated. You're not breathing in these fumes. You can wear some protection over your mouth and nose. But that's why I'm outside, so that I can show you how to do this. So I'm taking one for the team right now because it is so cold. I want to tell you about this wood burning tool is that it's about $14, and I got it at Walmart. It does come with a couple of different tips, but the chisel tip is my most favorite. It also has a stand, so it doesn't melt whatever you put it on. I've got it on my glass table outside, and I'm going to go ahead and plug it up. It has an on-off switch right here, and this one is by Plaid. Get it in the craft section at your local Walmart. So I'm going to let that warm up for just a second. And what we want to do is put ample drainage here and on the bottom, and then we want to mark about midway. That's where we're going to make our cut. So we really don't need to do drainage up top because we've got this. We're mainly focusing on the bottom half. Okay. Now, while that heats up, I'm going to show you the other things you need. So you get duct tape. You can get a good quality duct tape. You can get fancy duct tape. I used this last year and loved it. It's purple. I love purple. Then you also want to get a paint pen. This is a Sharpie paint pen, not just a regular Sharpie, but a paint pen. Again, on the same aisle as the wood burning tool is this paint pen. This is how you write on the outside of your container. Trust me when I tell you, you do want to make sure that you use a paint pen because they do fade. You're in the elements, it's outside, it's raining, it's snowing, it's freezing and thawing, that sort of thing. And so you just want to make sure that you are doing everything you can to know what you have in this container, okay? So if you just do yourself a favor, if you can't do that, write on a tag. These are some blinds that I bought at Lowe's for $6. I cut them up, and I now have plant tags. So if you don't have the ability, you can put a plant tag, you can write on it and stick it inside and seal it up. And that's another way if you can't buy the paint pen. I'm not sure if they sell these at the Dollar Tree. I have never looked. I'll have to look sometime. Okay, so the other thing that you need is a utility knife. You need soil, you need your container, you need your seeds, whatever it is you want to start the seeds, and then you also need duct tape. Get a good quality duct tape brand. You need labels if you don't have the paint pen, and you need a well ventilated space. If you cannot afford a wood burning tool, you can take and pop holes in it with the knife. Just be super careful. Make sure that you put your drainage in before you cut it, because it's a lot easier to handle than having to go like this and it's flopping all over everywhere. Does that make sense? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and cut our holes or burn our holes. We're going to test it. And it should go right in, just like that. Do you see the smoke coming off of it? See, and when it gets super hot, it just glides right through. Now, put more than you think. in your drainage holes, okay? But more than you think. Because the last thing you want is water standing in your containers, okay? You don't want to drown your baby plants. Or rot the seeds even. Okay, see how nice that is? Oh my gosh, it is so cold. Oh my gosh. I am freezing. I went crazy. I never put that many, but just because it's fun, I did it. Okay? So now our holes are in. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to put it on its stand. I'm going to unplug it. Whoo-wee! All right. Now, I am going to cut my hole, and I'm going to hold the handle. And I'm going to use right here as my guide. And I'm just going to cut. Okay. Now you want to be super careful. You don't cut yourself in the process. So maybe don't cut toward yourself. You can use scissors to do this as well. If you don't have a knife. Now you want to stop so that you have a hinge. Okay. There's your hinge. Now our container is ready. So what we need to do now is prepare the soil. Over one more time everything that we have here. So I have a bowl with a big spoon. This is going to be used for mixing my potting mix. I have a big container of water. That's to moisten the soil that I'm going to put in this bowl before it goes into here. So that's preparing the soil. I am going to start bachelor buttons, and these are my seeds that I'm going to start. I have my utility light knife, my Sharpie paint pen, my labels. I also have my duct tape, and I have a mister. This is something that we want to absolutely have so that we can moisten the seeds once we plant them. And then last but not least is something that I am using, and that is slug and snail bait. I sprinkle that over top of my jugs because I put coffee filters in and, well, it didn't help. So this is something I'm adding in new just to give myself a little bit of insurance. So it's all about adapting. Now I like to put on gloves just to kind of protect my hands a little bit. I don't always do this, but my hands are so cold today. What we're going to do is we are going to fill enough soil to put in this container. And how we do that, I'm going to get a scooper. I've got a scooper, and I'm just going to go, I'm going to get all this out of the way. I'm just going to scoop out enough soil. Now you can do this in a big bucket. You can do it, this is just how I'm doing it to show you. All right, that looks about right. And then what I'm gonna do is start adding water. Now this has peat moss in it, so it does take a little bit to get going. And we just want it to be a mud pie consistency. If you never played with mud pies, you just want it to kind of be like a brownie batter. So where it's not sopping wet, but it will hold a ball and not fall apart. And I never get it right on the first try, but less is more. You can, if you get too much water and it's soupy, you can add more soil. If you didn't get enough, you can add more water. Just make sure you have enough to do both. And it looks like I may have gotten it right on the first try. That looks about perfect. I have never done that before. You guys must be great luck. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to, you are more than welcome to put a coffee filter in here if you prefer. Again, I'm not going to. That just keeps the snails and slugs out. It did not work very well for me last year, so I'm not going to do that. And as you can see, that was a lot of soil, and Now, you want to press down to get any air pockets out. And I could use a little bit more soil. So I'm going to mix up just a little bit more. Because I want to give a lot of space for my roots to be able to grow. So I'm going to put it, about right there. So just maybe a fingertip worth below your cut. All right, that's about good. Perfect. Okay, we are ready to plant our seeds. We have our soil that has been pre-moistened in our container that has been prepped and ready. Now we have our seeds picked out and we are ready to plant. But wait, there's one bit of critical information that you must know before you put the first seed in the ground. You have to know whether the seed that you are planting has to have light to germinate or it needs darkness to germinate. And how do you figure this out? What I have found to be the best source is the internet. I Google every single seed and typically I do this ahead of time, and I go through every single seed that I'm going to be planting that day, and I look up, for example, bachelor button. Does bachelor button need light to germinate? And what that means is if the answer is no, it needs darkness, when you plant your seeds, you're going to cover it with soil. If it needs light to germinate, such as this oregano, as you can see, I wrote light on the back. This oregano needs light to germinate, which means I will not cover it with soil. When I put it in the container, I'm going to sprinkle it on the surface. I'm going to push them down very gently and make sure that I have good seed to soil contact. And then I'm going to mist it and close it up. I'm not going to cover it up because the seed won't germinate if it doesn't have sunlight. So this is a very, very important thing you need to know before planting any seed, indoors or winter sowing. So we're in luck. Bachelor buttons actually need darkness to germinate, so they do not need light. So I will be going through the process of showing you how, when something needs darkness to germinate, what we do. These are the Blue Boy bachelor buttons from American Seed, and these are my first seeds of 2025. I love the bachelor button seeds. I just think they are so cute. I don't know why or what it is. When you are planting your seeds, you want to have a smooth surface. So I really try to make myself a flat surface because some of these seeds are tiny. Just like that. When I do a gallon, I usually do 8 to 10. In smaller containers, less, bigger containers, more. You do how many ever you are comfortable with. So that's 7, and I'm going to do 8. All right. Now I keep my seed pack right near me so I can label it properly. And then I'm going to lightly press down on each of the seeds, being careful not to pick it up, and just making sure I have good seed to soil contact. Okay, that's very important. Now I'm going to get my soil and I'm going to lightly, very, very lightly cover with the dry soil, just like that. Making sure there are no seeds peeking through. Just like that. And then again, I'm going to press it down, making sure this seed to soil contact is great as well. Then what I'm going to do is I am going to get my slug and snail bait, and I'm going to gently sprinkle just a little bit. Now this has to be watered in, and it does last a little while, but I may have to reapply. You don't have to do this step. That is a option. I'm going to wet it really, really good. Even though it's going outside. And I'm going to play around with these slug and snail. Maybe wait to put it in there until I see germination. I'm not sure. I need to think about this. But I'm going to wet it really, really good. This step is not necessary if you have the paint pen and you want to write on the outside. You can go ahead and make a label and stick it on the inside, but we are ready to close up the container. But if you don't have a paint pen, please give yourself that insurance. I had a couple of you say, yep, my marker, my Sharpie faded, had no idea what it was, and it was like a big surprise. Well, maybe you don't want a surprise. So give yourself that little bit of insurance on what to do, okay? We're going to go ahead and close it up. Someone mentioned that they had arthritis really bad and that they tried painter's tape and wanted to know, or just wanted to share that. I love that idea of a workaround because the duct tape is super hard to get off in the spring when you are trying to get your stuff out of there. Like that. I am going to tape it like so, and then you just kind of massage it to make sure it's stuck. This does not feel like it is sticking very well, so I'm going to go around it one more time, just like that. Shake up your paint pen. So some information I like to put on my jugs is the name of the flower, what variety it is, and what seed company it is, so I can have good results. I can know my results after I open them, and know which seed variety worked better than other. I also like to put the date, and so that's very important to knowing when I put it in, okay? Okay, so as you see, I've got today's date, Bachelor Button, American Seed, and then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to put Blue Boy. Just like that. Okay, you can write on it before you do it if you prefer. That's not a problem. Whatever process you like, the best. We have our winter sown container ready to put outside. We want to make sure we do not have the lid on top of it. We want to make sure it's taped really well, and then we are going to put it outside. Okay, you're looking for a shade to part sun location. This is inside my fence, and this is where I'm going to put it. It gets some sun, but not direct sun all day long. And so let me show you what you're looking for. You're going to leave it alone for the most part. You just want to check the moisture level. So as you can see how it is right now, that's how you want it to be. You don't want it too wet, but you also don't want it too dry. Now, you don't want to mess with this. You want to leave it where it sits, and for the most part, all you're doing is checking for the moisture. If you come out and it looks dry, you're going to take your mister and you're just going to gently squirt inside, getting the edges and letting it stay nice and moist. And that's that. So we are going to leave our container out here all winter long. It's okay if it freezes. It's okay if it snows. It's okay if it gets icy. It's also okay if it germinates early. You just want to make sure that you are watching it for moisture. Make sure that it does not get dried out, okay? You just want to keep it moist. Now, as we get closer to the end of the winter time, then we're going to start worrying about, okay, a frost is coming and I've got nice big plants, so what do I need to do? I'm a firm believer in protecting them, but that's no time soon. Right now, they are fine as they sit. You don't want to mess with them. The whole basis of winter sowing is leaving them alone and only supplementing the water. Mother Nature's going to take care of them for you, okay? So we're going to be doing a lot of winter sowing in the coming weeks, and so I hope you'll check my other videos for more content on that. I have a ton that I've already made where I answer a lot of questions, and please, if you don't know or you're confused or something doesn't make sense, please feel free to reach out to me, leave a comment below, and I will do my best to answer. So feel free to reach out, and I want to thank you so much for watching. I also want to encourage you to give winter sowing a try. It is the greatest. I'm going to show you coming now after I finish talking. This is my garden, all winter sown and started from seeds indoors, but I want to show you what's possible with this method of winter sowing, okay? I hope you give it a try. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in another video soon. Take care.